it's Diane again at Cricut Designs, and I've had quite a few people send me questions and wonder about different things that they've tried once they watched my video about how to group and resize using Design Studio. So I thought I would make another video to try to answer some of those questions. The first thing you have to do is make sure that you're using the latest version of the Design Studio software. If you go to the Help menu in your program and click Help and then About, you'll get a screen that pops up that looks like this. I put this up instead of the actual screen because my serial number is contained beneath this box. But what you're looking for is Cricut Design Studio version 1.0.40422.0, and this update was made back in May of 2010. To find out when there are updates, you should check the Cricut.com site, particularly around the third Thursday of the month when new cartridges are generally announced. If you use the option under the Help menu to check for updates, you'll find that the update function does not work directly from the program, so you'll just need to go to the Cricut.com site to check for updates. When you go to the Cricut.com site, you'll need to click on Products at the top left of the home page, and then you'll find this page where you'll see a link to download the updates. If you click on that link and you're not currently signed into the Cricut.com site, you will get a screen asking you to sign in. And if you've never registered or signed in, you'll need to do that first. It's very quick and simple, just entering your email address and a password. At the top of the download page, you'll find the program update, and you need to have this version from May of 2010 in order to do the grouping and resizing that I've been telling you about. So follow these directions. You'll need to uninstall and download and then run the installer, and be sure to save it first on your desktop and then run. If your program was up to date but you're still missing some of the cartridges, which they call fonts in the program, you need to go to the second download on that page and download the Design Studio font packs. The current page as of today says that the download is the one from November 19th, but if you actually click the download button, you'll get an update that's version 101.207, which includes the cartridges which were just announced in December of 2010. So you will be totally up to date once you do that. So let's get back to some of the actual nitty-gritty questions about using the grouping and resizing. The example I used for the last video was made with this element off of the Cindy Lou cartridge, which is actually symmetrical or nearly symmetrical. So in order to make a frame, all I had to do was copy, paste, and rotate using that 90-degree button up there. I won't go through the whole thing again, but you can see how it was possible for me to put the frame together using only the rotate button. Sometimes you might want to make a frame using an element that is not symmetrical, and here's a good example. I made a new frame using this element from the wedding cartridge, which clearly is not symmetrical. In order to make a symmetrical frame with this shape, I took it to the side here and just overlapped the center line a little bit. This just helps give me a visual of where it's going. And then I copied and pasted, but in this case I needed to flip the shape in order to get it to line up properly. And then I slid this over. Let's go up to 100% again. Slid it over. It's important to use those side sliding handles and not the free move handle to keep things nicely aligned. So there I have two of the shapes. Now I want to repeat that for the bottom of the frame. So in this case I can actually copy, paste, and turn this element twice. Slide it over. I'm looking to make sure my boxes line up so I know that I'm straight. You can see that kind of fine shadow line. And then I'm going to pull it down and just have these two curlicues overlap. So once again, that worked just fine. But to be quick and easy, I'll copy and paste that again and then flip it and then slide that piece across and create my full frame. Now if I just go back here And I'm going to turn off this preview so you can just preview the frame as it is. You see that I've created a symmetrical frame, but two of the elements actually have been flipped, and that causes a problem. Let's go back to this page now. I'm going to Control L to clear my preview, and if I go ahead and click with my mouse and drag and create that box, first of all, it's a little slower to do it, and then when I release, instead of instantly getting the one item with handles around it, it takes a little bit of time, but eventually you'll see we do get the handles to come up. However, the two items that were flipped have gone back to their original orientation, which is not a big deal, but it just makes it a little confusing as you look at this. What you want to do next is hold down your Control key. Now, because this is an item that's been turned around, your handles are not in their usual spots, and I know on my last video I showed you and I just used these handles, but you can also just go over here and click on one of the other ones, and in this case that makes it a little easier if you're used to working with the handles, because now you can just use the lower right handle, which is the one you're used to grabbing, to resize. And you will be able to resize everything, pull it down nice and small, and then when you release and click off the mat and all your boxes and dots go away, you'll just have to click the two things that had been flipped and re-flip them. There's something about flipping that makes the software go a little bit crazy, but you still can resize and you can still get your design back just the way you wanted it, just the way you designed it, and there you can see that here in the preview. Once again, I had already set up an A2 sized card guideline here using just a random square off of the wedding cartridge, and I'm going to turn the page preview back on by right clicking and checking include page in preview, and let's preview, and now we have a guided measure to use to resize this little design we made. So going back to the first page, which is the page where that design is actually on the mat, and dragging again all the way around, wait a bit to let it think about it, and the handles will come up eventually. Sing yourself a little song while you're waiting for it. But there we go, they're there. And then you don't actually need to hold the Control key right now, you can just move it over into the space where we're working, and then hold down the Control key, go ahead and click on the top one just to get that mentally easier ways to use your handles, and just pull it out a little bit, try it a little bit more, that looks like a good size to me, and then release. While we've already got this ready, we know we're going to want to weld the design in the end, so I would suggest going ahead and checking weld. I'm not going to do it at this very moment because I want you to see what it looks like in a color preview, so I'll click off, and then I just have to go back in here and re-flip the things that should have been flipped. And then if we look at this in a color preview, you can see what the design looks like. Now, if I go back to this page and draw my square, put my mouse down, hold it down, and encompass all of the elements in the design, once again, give it time, but it will first be just little circles, but ultimately, there we go, you'll get the handles back. And now I need to go up here and click weld so that these four items will now weld together. I'll Control L to clear my preview, and then click off the whole design, and then simply click flip on the two things that do need to be flipped again. So finally, if we just want to go over to the preview page, which is a blank page and makes it easier to see what's happening, you'll see that we now have made the design, resized it, and the trouble with the flipped objects is easily taken care of. It just takes a few more steps. I hope that this has been helpful to you. As always, feel free to send me an email or contact me through my blog, CapadiaDesign.com, and enjoy working with your design studio.